Well, hey everybody, I'm John Ritlin. This is my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 29 Night 14 event. I'm sorry I didn't have this review up this morning, but unfortunately after watching the undercard, I barely got any sleep. I had to go to sleep for about 5 hours since I worked a longer shift today than I usually do on Sundays. And I watched block matches once I got home, so that's why you're getting this review now. The Wednesday and Thursday reviews will be up each of those afternoons, and then between the 10th and the 11th, there is one G1 show on the 10th, Saturday morning. I will be watching that one live and have that review up in the morning. And then Sunday, I'm going to actually be taking Sunday off because it's also SummerSlam. So I'm going to watch G1 Night 18, then put that review up, go back to bed, watch SummerSlam, review that, and then come home probably before go sleep and just watch the G1 finals because it's going to be an absolute blast. So I will be reviewing the last three G1s live for sure. And thank you guys very much for your patience. I really do appreciate that you guys keep tuning in. Thank you so much. But let's get on with this. The B block is kind of tight right now. It's nice to have a nice tight block, isn't it? There's a euphemism in there. There's several. We get Kevin Kelly, Rocky Romero, Chris Charlton on commentary, and A block preview matches. Preview the A block matches here in some of these things, well, except for the first one. The first one involved three Young Lions and Hanare. It was Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and versus Toa Hanare and Yuya Uemura. And it was a chop fest between Hanare and Narita. That's not a good idea to chop Hanare, but Narita got beat up a bit. Yuya got in. Then Shota and Yuya had a nice little scrap. But in the end, Fisherman Suplex pins Yuya Uemura 1-2-3. Hanare was not happy. Put Hanare in the G1 next year. The man has really worked hard, and I would like to see him in the G1. And then we get Bushi, Evil, and Sonata versus Minoru Suzuki, Lance Archer, and Zack Sabre Jr. And it's previews of Sonata versus Archer, and then Evil's going to be taking on Okada the next time the A block goes up, so that would be Wednesday, basically. And yeah, Sonata versus Archer, that would be pretty interesting. Of course, it goes outside. Shocking, the Suzuki-Gun match goes outside. Sonata does get targeted a bit. He tags Evil, and of course, CSJ, they have a nice little scrap. They got some pretty good chemistry, even though we've seen it quite a bit. Suzuki and Bushi fighting each other, and then, well, in the end, a delayed Gotch piledriver pins Bushi for the 1-2-3. Yeah, undercard matches are going to kind of get blasted through because there really isn't much to them, especially as this tournament goes on. It gets to the point where they do their entrances, and sometimes the combined entrances are longer than the actual match. But it is what it is. It gets everybody on the card. Then we get Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, and Yujiro Takahashi versus Honma, Tanahashi, and Ibushi. And, yeah, it was a Fale Tanahashi preview. It was what it was, which I'm not that excited about that match. Please, for the love of God, let Tanahashi win. There is no reason for Fale to win. Of course, tech for the bell goes outside. Tana gets beat up quite a bit. Then Ibushi gets in. He has some strikes. Honma and Chase, they have their nice little, they have some nice little exchanges and everything. And Honma, I cringe every time he hits his head. But there was a triple Kokeshi by his team, the falling headbutt. So it was Ibushi, Tanahashi, and Honma. The Kokeshi, the falling headbutt on Chase Owens. Chase getting beat up never gets old, in all honesty. But in the end, Chase's package piledriver pins Honma for the 1-2-3. It's safe, by the way. Chase is actually a pretty safe worker, and it's a good thing given the fact that Honma had his neck and cervical issues, and still is dealing with them, but it was what it was. But yeah, so big shock. Bullet Club wins. Just for the love of God, to get Fale out of the G1 after this year. Now we get Kenta, Carl Fredericks, and Clark Connors versus Okada, Will Ospreay, and Yoshihashi. And a preview of Ospreay versus Kenta, which ought to be a pretty interesting match. I don't know who the fuck's going to win. It probably Kenta. But still, interesting match for what it is. Commentary interwove this whole thing of like how Kenta was still alive in the G1, but Tanahashi isn't. And if a whole bunch of shit happens and Kenta wins his two matches, like if one guy wins a match but then loses a match or whatever because of who he's beaten, like he beat Ibushi and he beat Evil, but he didn't beat Okada, then Kenta would end up if Kenta can end up in a four-way tie, he would end up winning. It's complicated. I mean, you gotta probably listen to commentary, listen during the entrances, or during the match, and actually listen to them explain it. I think it's during Kenta's entrance. It made sense, but it's hard for me to explain. So maybe just take a look at the matches and figure out the point totals and that kind of stuff. And again, we'll have the point totals at the end of this. But yeah, we get Okada and Fredericks. It was kind of nice to see the LA Dojo guys get a chance to shine here. Fredericks, of course, did get beat up for a bit. Connors got in, and then he was chopping Yoshihashi. But in the end, after some good exchanges, Butterfly Lock taps Connors, and there we go. And then we get Yano versus Tomohiro Ishii. Chaos exploding. Instantly, Yano is removing the turnbuckle pads and throws Ishii's shirt over him and, is just trying to pin him and everything, do all this stuff. And then Yano actually gets a chair and goes out on the ramp and is trying to bait him in, kind of like he did with Shingo and almost beat him. Yano, that is. But, Ishii gets him back in the ring because Yano almost got counted out. Chops by Ishii. That's actually the best Yano match that they've had. Or that Yano has had, rather, in this G1. Because he actually was able to pull out some moves and he wasn't just doing the comedy stuff and everything. Got some nice strikes. He got a turnbuckle bump by Ishii, but that was just for 2. Yano back to his amateur roots, doing some pretty good stuff. Actually hitting a nice, shoulder throw or hitting a nice throw and that kind of stuff. Yeah, really dipping his shoulders and getting the strength underneath. Big lariat by Ishii, some near falls, but then a vertical drop brainbuster, 1, 2, 3. So Ishii beat Yano. I don't really think there was any doubt about that. And then we get Taichi with Miho and Kanemaru at ringside versus Juice Robinson. I wanted to like this. I don't mind heel tactics, but sometimes New Japan can overdo them. And that's not to say other companies can't overdo them, but sometimes New Japan overdoes it. And yeah, Kanemaru attacks Juice during his entrance, but the referee's distracted, so he doesn't throw the match out. Taichi takes over. Of course, Miho ends up distracting Juice, even at one point is like saying, you go, and trying to get her out of the way. Of course, Taichi's using his dirty tactics and all that. Slams Juice on the, announcer's table. Poor Milano Collection AT. Poor Jushin Thunder Liger, who's on the Japanese commentary. Thankfully, no Chase Owens on commentary. Fuck, we're probably going to get that, on Wednesday. God damn it. But then, chair to Juice's head. Few good exchanges. There was actually some nice... When Taichi actually wanted to do some shit, it actually wasn't that bad. Kicks from Taichi matching the punches of Juice. That was nice. Punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. Boo, yay, boo, yay, boo, yay. But then powerbomb into a Boston Crab. That was by Juice. That was pretty damn good stuff. The high angle Boston Crab like Tenzon does. Best wishes to Tenzon. I think Tenzon's currently injured. So hopefully he recovers. Centauri surprise alcohol spit by Kanemaru. That got stopped when Juice hit him with a left-handed God and just all sprayed up. But then Taichi did the alcohol spit, the Centauri surprise. That didn't necessarily work. I mean, it worked, but, he tried for the Gedo clutch, didn't work. But soon after, Black Mephisto, 1, 2, 3. So Taichi actually did get the victory, and, oh well, it was fine. When it wasn't involving a whole bunch of run-ins and a whole bunch of bullshit and everything, and, with just straight-up wrestling, it actually wasn't that bad. Even with some dirty tactics by Taichi. If he just used dirty tactics, fine. I mean, Miho, hey, at least we didn't have Gedo, attacking Miho. I'm still mad at Gedo about that. I know he's a heel, and it was all staged and still, but it was bad. I didn't like it, but sometimes the interference and all that stuff gets a little much, and that's kind of what happened here. Cobb versus Goto. It was a rematch of G1 at the Cow Palace, and also I think they faced off at Honor Rising earlier this year. I don't remember if it was night 1 or 2. Forgive me. Some of these shows blend together, and I also review New Japan, WWE, and I don't get much sleep and I work. So you'll forgive me sometimes of some of this stuff, if some stuff gets jumbled. But it was a great power versus amateur skill battle. I mean, not that Goto is a slouch when it comes to power, but Cobb's strength is just otherworldly. Cobb does dominate a bit. We then get some nice, exchanges with Goto coming back. Huge clotheslines, some really hard clotheslines. A big deadlift superplex by Cobb for 2. Reverse GTR for 2. There were some nice, other near falls and everything reversals. But soon after GTR 1, 2, 3, and Hirooki Goto beats Jeff Cobb, which was probably smart. I mean, Cobb's currently signed to Ring of Honor. I don't know if Cobb's going to stay with Ring of Honor or not. I don't know where he would go. New Japan would be smart to scoop him up if he became available. If he wanted to go and they wanted him, they would be really smart to get him. But it was a good match. It wasn't quite as good as their match that they had at the G1 special at the Cow Palace, but it was still a good match. Cobb's matches always seem to be a little bit shorter, and I'm not sure if it's the same thing with Jonathan Gresham and the Best of Super Juniors. They're doing it as a way to preserve him because he's part of Ring of Honor and not part of New Japan. I mean, in that case, why the fuck even have him, even though they got a working relationship? Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but it was still a good match. And then we get Jon Moxley versus Jay White, and I liked it, but I wanted to like it more. Now, it was all about who could out-dirty the other. Obviously, Moxley was cheered wildly compared to Jay White, who's a very good, detestable heel. I don't mind when White does the dirty tactic stuff, and yes, I get Gato interfering, they're supposed to be in lockstep and all that stuff. The problem is Gato helping Okada, I think it worked better than Gato helping Jay White. I don't think that the Jay White-Gato relationship is going to last nearly as long. Because Jay isn't going to necessarily need him. And I mean, you could argue, though, the whole point is that I think it's getting drugged down a bit. But maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Mox does rush the ring. Start attack. Jay White goes outside. Of course, he brings out a table, but then Gato takes the table to the entranceway. Somehow Gato, who is not a fast man, can get that table out there before Mox even realized. And then Jay does take over after a DDT, hits some good strikes. Big suicide dive by Mox soon afterwards. We go outside of knee, kind of like the figure four spot the Bret Hart used to do around the ring post. Mox did that to Jay White. Big clover leaf by Mox. Some good strikes and reversals. I actually liked quite a bit of the flow of this match. Release suplex for 2, and that was Mox who did that. Gato got in, and he was going to hit him with the brass knucks. Well, then, after a ref distraction, the referee was distracted, low blow, and then brass knucks, but Jay White couldn't get the victory. Regal knee for 2, and, it looked like Mox was about to win, but nope, soon after, even, more interference, stuff like that, of course. 2 sleeper suplexes, and then Mox just flips off Jay White and this kind of stuff, and gets the Blade Runner 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Jay White's victory right there pretty much torpedoed a whole lot of, any disparity between, or, any, space between the leader and, the head guy and, anybody else. Because now Jay White owns a tiebreaker over Moxley. So if Moxley wins one more match and Jay only wins 1 or 2, he's fine. But if they tie, then Jay's going to go to the he's going to win B block and everything. The match was good. I will probably put it on my favorites list, but it's just sometimes the interference gets to be a bit much. But it was what it was. We then get Shingo versus Naito, and LIJ explodes. This match, just watch this match. I'm going to go over a few spots, but just watch this match. This match was fucking terrific. It really, really was. It was Naito taunting Shingo at first. Some good reversals, who could hit a move, and no, we can't do that, and then the face-off, all that was pretty cool. Naito grounding Shingo with some nice submissions. We get some good strikes. It does go outside. Naito gets sent into the guardrail a few times. Big elbow, I believe the dragon elbow or whatever the heck it's called off of the ropes by Shingo, like the drop elbow, not like drop foot, but that we get Naito targeting the neck, which was some good stuff, and actually came back into play with how Shingo was hitting some of his moves. No Shigami by Shingo, where he has him like in a gory special and does that and falls back. Big swinging DDT by Naito. Gloria, where he traps the arm and everything and drops him kind of like a snap, kind of like a bit of a trap snap suplex, which is pretty nice. The clotheslines by Shingo were absolutely brutal. They laid into each other here, and it was brutal. They beat the hell out of each other. The Poison Rana, please stop with the motherfucking Poison Ranas, please. I don't want to see anybody die. I know wrestling is not easy, but for fuck's sake, quit doing the Poison Ranas. And then big old pumping bomber after a made in Japan. Good grief, this match. Big pumping bomber for 2. Brainbuster by Naito. Clothesline by Shingo. Short arm Destino for 2. But soon after Destino, I'm not going to try to do like Kevin Kelly. Maybe if Naito makes it maybe if Naito somehow wins the G1, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do that. I'll try to do a Kevin Kelly Destino. I will be tired as fuck and it's going to be bad. But yeah, I'm going to say B. I didn't like a lot of the interference shit and all that stuff and everything, but none of the block matches bothered me. So this actually was a pretty good show overall. It would be, though, it almost B-, but I decided to go B, especially for that main event. That main event was terrific. Now, the point totals. So Juice Robinson and Shingo, Juice Robinson has 6, Shingo has 4. They're both pretty much eliminated. Even though Juice is facing Mox, Juice isn't going to be able to win the G1. And then Jon Moxley still has 10. He's still leading. Taichi and Yano each have 6, but they're out because they lost to Mox and stuff like that, and they could only match him. So it'd be a tiebreaker. And hell, actually Yano does own a victory over Jay White, so who the fuck knows? I mean, I think they're both technically out, though. And then Naito has 8, Ishii has 8, so they're tied, and Jeff Cobb has 6. I believe he's out. And then Hirooki, Goto, and Jay White each have 8. So, yeah, that's going to be it right there. So, again, Wednesday, Thursday reviews. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon. And then the 10th and 11th. Yes, going to prepare for a whole lot of not much sleep. Because it's all about G1. All about covering the WWE events as well. But anyway, what do you guys think so far? Who do you think is going to win the block? Some of you said Jay White early on in the comments. Looks like you're starting to be right. It's a good call. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.